challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The day of the march was a very, very sad day for the Nigerian people.
Senate moved to investigate the outbreak of violence at Moshood Abiola Stadium, Abuja, following Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2022 World Cup tournament.
To check insidious effects of religious bigotry, profiling, stereotyping, violence, discrimination, extremism, and hate speeches.
And Senate considers bill for the establishment of a commission on religious harmony in Nigeria. Welcome to this week's episode of Inside the Senate. I am Hussaina Amina Aboki. In this episode, we shall take reports of some motions and bills considered recently in the Senate. Our lineup includes a motion seeking investigation into the violence that followed Nigeria's failed bid to qualify for the 2022 World Cup tournament, a motion on boosting tourism in Nigeria as a tool to assist the federal government in its economic diversification efforts, as well as a bill seeking the establishment of a commission to entrench religious harmony in Nigeria. Details of these and more make up our package this week. We also have our regular segment of notebook and profile to complete our package. Do stay tuned for details after this short break.
The Senate will send a message to the President
To reap opportunities from that.
To raise a matter of urgent public importance.
And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up,
For a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Thanks for joining us. Amongst the matters considered before the Senate break for the Eid al-Fitr was the ugly incident that accompanied Nigeria's failure to qualify for the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifier match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Black Star of Ghana. Senator Michael Inachi came under a matter of urgent public importance to draw Senate's attention to the incident in a motion which was titled Failed Bid of the Super Eagles to Qualify for the FIFA World Cup Qualifier and the Attendant Vandalization of Facilities and Loss of Life at the MKO Abiola National Stadium. For details of how the motion went and other deliberations in the chamber, let's take this report as compiled and presented from our studio.
On the fair bid of the Super Eagles of Nigeria to qualify for the...
Sponsor of the motion, Senator Michael Inachi, disclosed in his presentation that the match took place at the MKO Abiola National Stadium in Abuja on Tuesday the 29th of March 2022 between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and Black Stars of Ghana and ended with a 1-1 draw. And because the Super Eagles had earlier on drawn 0-0 with the Ghanaian squad in Accra in the first leg of the tournament on Friday the 25th of March 2022, and unable to secure clear victory with another 1-1 draw in the return match in Abuja, the Ghanaians were able to secure qualification because an away goal by FIFA rules comes with double mark automatically disqualifying Nigeria from the tournament. The result infuriated Nigerian football fans whose anger and frustration, as vented, only succeeded in painting Nigeria in a bad light both locally and internationally.
A violent reaction by irate football fans reportedly took place in the aftermath of the Nigeria vs Ghana qualifier, leading to destruction of stadium, facilities and loss of life, including the unfortunate death of Dr. Joseph Kabungo, a Zambian and FIFA CAF anti-doping medical officer. The day of the match was a very, very sad day for the Nigerian people. Pervasive in the stadium and in homes was a sense of frustration and national loss, because the expectation was that Nigeria was going to qualify given the result of the previous
encounter. The person who died, I'm told, I wasn't there, died as a result of cardiac arrest. May his soul rest in peace.
As a matter of fact, there's a loss of life that day in the stadium, but it was not man-made. When the crisis erupted, the doctor was running, so he fell down. They went and to bring him up. All efforts made to revive him failed. When the doctors came from Zambia and Nigerian doctors, after examination, nobody touched him. I discovered that he has been having heart issues. He has been since, evacuated back to Zambia.
The resolutions adopted on the motion were to mandate a committee on sports and youth development to investigate the remote and immediate causes of the failure of the Super Eagles to qualify for the 2022 World Cup despite the huge amount expended by government, individuals and corporate organizations, as well as investigate the vandalization of facilities at the MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, in the aftermath of the Super Eagles' failed bid for the 2022 FIFA World Cup match.
This is a motion on the need to...
Still on motions, the Senate's attention was drawn to a historical monument in Bayelsa State capable of enhancing the economic diversification drive of the federal government through the boosting of tourism. In a motion titled Need to Establish National Museum at Akasa Slave Trade Center in Bayelsa State to preserve national heritage, the sponsor, Senator Degi Eremion, stated that the monument is located at the southernmost tip of Nigeria in Bayelsa State, where the Non-River estuary meets the Atlantic Ocean, with a lighthouse towering 90 meters which has been serving as a navigational facility since 1910. He then gave a historical overview of the settlement and disclosed that Akasa is the location where the Nembe people of the present-day Bayelsa State waged a war against the British in 1895 with 22 war canoes and 1,500 foot soldiers to fight against the high-handedness and obnoxious taxation imposed on the people by the Royal Niger Company. One of the consequences of the war was the revocation of the charter of the Royal Niger Company, resulting in its liquidation and selling all its possessions and concessions in Africa on the 1st of January 1900 to the British government at £865,000. The sponsor spoke further on the role played by the settlement in the 17th century when slave trade was at its peak.
It was one of the major centers in the country where the harrowing effects of transatlantic slave trade resonates till this day. And during the British colonial years, it was the site of an outpost of the Royal Niger Company. Some of the relics of the slave trade, such as slave house, slave masters, administrative block and quarter, slave jetty, slave transit tunnel, white men graveyard, and what have you, can still be found. With the current efforts made by the government to diversify our economy, the Akasa town is a veritable historical heritage center which will boost our tourism potentials and consequently earn us foreign exchange.
There are small countries around the world, including African countries, where simple monuments, simple historical sites attract foreigners all over the world to come and observe. We have wonderful places in Nigeria, and this is just one of them.
With this, the following resolution was adopted. Direct the National Commission for Museums and Monuments to recognize the Akasa Slave Trade Center and establish it as a national museum in Bayelsa State. Another motion considered was titled Need to retain the name of Harold Dapabiri in the new head office of the NDDC. It was sponsored by Senator Henry Seriake Dixon. It disclosed that Chief Dapabiri, who was from the Niger Delta region, was in the category of Nigeria's foremost statesmen and nationalists, like the late Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmad Bello, Sardauna of Sokoto, as well as Chief Obafemi Awolowo in the pre-independence struggles. According to him, it was in the light of his struggles in promoting national unity, understanding and cohesion that the temporary headquarters of the NDDC was named after him. He however said when the permanent headquarters of the NDDC was commissioned recently, the name of Chief Harold Dapabiri was omitted.
NDDC, after 20 years of existence, has now last year, commissioned its permanent headquarters, but observes with dismay that while the NDDC commissioned and has moved its personnel and activities into its permanent headquarters, which is commendable, it has somehow refused, neglected, or failed to transfer the name Harold Dapabiri earlier approved that adorned the temporary secretariat, temporary headquarters. That should have been done even before the commissioning.
Indeed, Harold Dapabiri was a great son, not only of Niger Delta, but of this country. He fought for the independence of Nigeria, and until his demise, he stood to defend what is good and what is right in the interest of the people of this great nation. Mr. President, for his contribution towards the development of man and society, particularly that part of this country, I feel that this is the least that we can do, the federal government can do, to immortalize the name of this great son.
When we are governors, that was when that thing was done. It was President Obasanjo that approved, the Federal Executive Council approved that name. I can remember Odili was mandated in a meeting here in Abuja to go and perform that duty. Governor Odili. And this is the fact. That was when it was done.
The resolution therefore was to urge the President and Commander-in-Chief to direct the appropriate authority to name the NDDC headquarters after Chief Harold Dapabiri.
Those were reports of some of the motions considered before the short Eid-ul-Fitr break. The program Inside the Senate continues with our notebook segment as we consider the topic, the Nigerian legislature.
Nigeria has operated the two-tier type of legislature since independence in 1960, also known as the bicameral legislature, called the Senate and House of Representatives. It took after the British parliamentary system, where the two chambers are referred to as the House of Lords and the House of Commons, or the Americans, where they are called the Senate and House of Representatives. In Nigeria, these chambers are referred to as the National Assembly at the national level. At the state level, however, only one legislative institution, the State House of Assembly, is operated. All these are in accordance with the various constitutions adopted by the country since independence. These legislative institutions perform the function of lawmaking and oversighting the executive, among other things.
The only way out of the pandemic is for the population to observe the recommended measures advised by the NCDC. The Senate Committees on Health and Primary Health Care and Communicable Diseases will continue to engage with the Federal Ministry of Health and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
The program is Inside the Senate. In the first part of the program, we reported some motions considered recently by lawmakers in the Red Chamber, amongst which is a motion seeking investigation into the violence that accompanied Nigeria's failure to qualify for the World Cup tournament coming up in Qatar, November 2022. The exploration of a tourist center in Bayelsa State, as well as one seeking the retention of the name of Chief Harold Dapabiri at the national headquarters of the NDDC. We now continue the program with some bills at second reading. Highlights include a bill seeking to amend the act establishing a specialized educational institution in Arochukwu, Abia State, as well as another seeking the establishment of a commission that would oversee religious harmony in Nigeria. The report is compiled and presented from our studio.
It is with great honor and pleasure that I present the lead debate on this important...
One of the bills debated at second reading was titled Federal Colleges of Education Act Amendment Bill 2021, and it was sponsored by Senator Orji Uzor Kalu. It seeks the elevation of the existing College of Education Technical Arochukwu, Abia State to the status of a Federal College of Education to cover a broader scope of knowledge in addition to being technically and technologically oriented.
There were previous attempts in the 7th and the 8th assemblies to upgrade the existing facility at the Abia State College of Education Technical to become tertiary institution. Owing to the absence of this bill at this period of this time, this objective was not achieved. We will be passing this bill for further legislative processes from these dreams and aspirations, not just the good of Abia people, but all Nigerians.
The present College of Education Technical provides limited access for those who have technical tendencies. And by expanding the scope to General College of Education, removes that restriction and allows people with different tendencies to have access to this education.
Access to education is what this Honored Chamber should be in the forefront in promoting, particularly technical education, because emphasis should now be on technical education instead of general education, even though the two can go simultaneously. And for that reason, this bill is very timely, and I therefore support the second reading of it.
The bill was therefore read a second time and referred to the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund to report back in 4 weeks. Another bill presented for second reading was seeking the establishment of a commission that will be saddled with the responsibility of promoting religious harmony in Nigeria. Titled National Religious Harmony Establishment Commission Bill 2022, it was sponsored by Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar and supported by other senators.
The bill seeks to create an enabling environment for the peaceful coexistence of all adherents of different religious beliefs within the Nigerian nation, and as well provide for a forum for public enlightenment and dialogue on to limit controversy and confrontation over allegations of discriminations based on religious beliefs and identities, to check insidious effects of religious bigotry, profiling, stereotyping, violence, discrimination, extremism, and hate speeches. To monitor, investigate, and prosecute all cases of religious discrimination, victimization, and harassment, and take such actions as may deem expedient in each circumstances. Assist victims of religious discrimination or violation and seek appropriate redress and remedies on their behalf.
Not only even to call for permission, we are supposed even to have a Ministry of Religious Affairs that will monitor all the religious affairs in this country. Because if you see all these problems we have of this banditry, Boko Haram, is of course because we are not following the teachings of the religion. Whether you are a Muslim or a Christian, once you follow the teachings of the religion, definitely we know we will have peace and harmony. So I think I'm calling on our colleagues to look at this very important bill.
We are a multi-religious society, and religion is part of those social issues that not only concern individuals, the way it is practiced in this country, but must concern us as a nation, given the various experiences we have. And it has caused some conflict among communities, among citizens. Therefore, it is essential and necessary for us as lawmakers who are charged by constitutions to make law for good governance, welfare, and peace of this country, to look at issues such as this and come up with an appropriate mechanism such as being proposed in this bill.
After second reading, the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service Matters to report back in 4 weeks.
May I please lay the petition
A petition was also treated by Senate before the break. It was presented by Senator Albert Bassi Akpan, who stated that the petition was written by one barrister Vincent Iwude against the Nigerian police force on behalf of some constituents, namely Sunday Okon, Anthony Ebong, Joseph Edem, as well as Uduak Samson.
The petitioner alleges that after undergoing due process and recruitment by Nigerian police force in 2003, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, only in 2007 to be dismissed by Nigerian police force just on the basis that they were illiterates.
The petitioner sought remedies in court and got a judgment against Nigerian police force, which has not been appealed against. Neither have they been reinstated by Nigerian police force. The petitioners are therefore seeking their remedy, that it is the Senate of the people of Nigeria, and that we should please intervene in this regard.
After laying the petition, it was referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to report back in 4 weeks.
Away from bills, Senate President Ahmad Lawan has, in the spirit of Workers' Day, appealed for a speedy and amicable resolution of the ongoing negotiations between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) to ensure that the nation's universities resume for learning and research. Senator Ahmad Lawan made the appeal in a statement signed by his special advisor on media, Mr. Ola Awoniyi, to commemorate Workers' Day marked all over the world on the 1st of May every year. He added that the National Assembly would continue to partner with the organized labor in addressing issues that affect workers in particular and Nigerians in general. The Senate President also commended Nigerian workers for their patriotic cooperation with the government and other institutions in the collective efforts to address societal challenges. He added that there is no gainsaying the fact that labor creates wealth for the nation, the more reason that the welfare of the Nigerian worker should be given priority. Similarly, Senator Ahmad Lawan has charged Nigerians generally to continue to pray for the peace and security of Nigeria in particular and the world in general. He gave the charge when he congratulated the Muslim Ummah for the successful completion of the Ramadan fast. He also admonished them to daily imbibe the lessons of self-reliance, sacrifice, charity and sharing with their neighbors, all of which were attributes that accompanied the month of Ramadan. He then urged Nigerians in general to engage in what is right and avoid what is forbidden and be good representatives of our faiths. We will take our profile segment next. Stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Ibrahim Yahya Oloriegbe was born on the 12th of November 1960. After primary and secondary education, he studied medicine at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria and graduated in flying colors with a Bachelor of Medicine degree in 1985. He also holds a degree in surgery, while also specializing in the areas of human physiology, biochemistry, community health, as well as laboratory medicines, among others. With over 30 years' experience in medical practice both in the private and public sectors, Senator Ibrahim Yahya Oloriegbe also attended medical schools in various parts of the world. In the area of advocacy, Senator Yahya Oloriegbe attended trainings in the Oxford University, UK, in change management, project management, facilitation skills, health policies, systems analysis, legislation and leadership, among other numerous areas of training. On the political turf, Senator Oloriegbe won election to the Kwara State House of Assembly, where he served as majority leader from 1999 to 2003. He contested to the Senate in the 2011 general elections but was not successful. He contested again in the 2019 general elections to represent Kwara Central Senatorial District under APC and won. In the Senate, he is the chairman, Senate Committee on Tertiary Health, and a member of several other committees. His legislative interests include health, poverty alleviation, security, as well as education.
This brings us to the end of this week's episode of Inside the Senate. Please continue to send in your comments, questions and suggestions to help the 9th Senate perform optimally for you. Join us next week for another edition, and thanks for watching.